What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Light back with another YouTube video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing Let's Talk on the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show. So, yeah, let's get into this. Yeah, most recently I've been watching a lot of these Marvel animated TV shows recently on Disney Plus because I was like, why not? So yeah, I felt like doing this. I felt like watching Ultimate Spider-Man because yeah, I personally myself, I have a lot of nostalgia to this show, so I was just like, why not? Let's watch it again. So yeah, I watched a complete series, and here is what I'm gonna say about it. And also, if you're new to these videos, Let's Talks are pretty much kind of like reviews, but I can put multiple seasons or multiple movies in the thing instead of writing like a formal review or something like that. So yeah, that's the reason why I call it Let's Talk About Ultimate Spider-Man and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into this. So this show aired for about 4 seasons, and I felt like it had some potential. Uh, yeah, it had some potential. Could have been better. Uh, a lot of people say this is like the worst Spider-Man show, which in terms of accuracy, yeah, it is. But in terms of just the enjoyment, like I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch at least seasons like 1 and 2. I used to come home from school, or I used to wake up on Saturday morning, go downstairs and watch cartoons, or come home from school and watch cartoons. And I used to watch this show. Now, I noticed this was an animation style that they used for this show has now been used for more stuff like they off it the spin-offs for like Hulk and the Agents of Smash, the Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy. That's in this animation style. So I thought that was interesting as well. Uh, yeah, but yeah, let's yeah. So let's start talking about this, I guess. Yeah. Again, this show ran for about 4 seasons. From like 2012 all the way till 2016 or something like that. Uh, in this show, again, it's very nostalgic to me. I just explained why. But yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man does a really good job in terms of keeping Spider-Man in the loop. I felt it was a bit tiring at times because it ties in a lot of Marvel characters, not even just Spider-Man villains, like superheroes and other heroes, villains and stuff. It does a really excellent job of tying in that, and it still involves Spider-Man, which could sometimes get annoying us a lot of times. Is when Spider-Man is just there because it's his show. They just put him just there, and I find that kind of stupid and honestly, but that's a common theme I've seen is that Spider-Man is in every single episode. It's some continuity. So like he's always in every episode no matter what's happening. And yeah, again, it ties in a lot of characters which I really like. Like it had to have at least 20 plus different superheroes from the Avengers to like Hulk to like these even members of the X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, a whole bunch of different characters, Inhumans. They didn't just, but they didn't have really that much Fantastic Four. And yeah, that was really cool as well because they could pretty much use any Marvel superhero because remember, this is animated, which the rules are completely different in terms of the animation rights and stuff like that. So technically, they could have put whoever they want in this show, but I thought that was rather interesting as well to something to say. But here's another thing too. Comic accuracy is very screwed up in the show, though. I must say that though, because the show mainly revolves around Spider-Man pretty much joining Shield and leading a team. And I understand why people dislike it, especially comic accuracy again, because a lot of things were done very stupidly. For example, some of these villains that Spider-Man is supposed to first is ends up turning into kind of they end up turning into hero type people. Like for example, Sandman wasn't really that evil, and he was kind of a good guy towards the end of the show. Same with like Rhino as well. Uh, the Vulture. Like these guys are arch enemies of Spider-Man, and they want to kill Spider-Man. I mean, I get Sandman, but Rhino and Vulture usually, most part, want to beat up Spider-Man and stuff like that. So that's where a lot of people don't like it as well as like Spider-Man isn't a Iron Boy Junior like for example in the MCU, but he's like very much involved with Shield and the event or not the Avengers, but like Shield in general, and with other superheroes and like Nick Fury managing him, which a lot of people dislike. I dislike that as well. I do not like seeing like Spider-Man pretty much get treated like a child all the time when in like comics and stuff. Spider-Man is like his own hero. He's doesn't get like he's not having anybody go like Spider-Man do this, Spider-Man follow government rules, whatever. So I dislike kind of that aspect, but it was interesting tying them in. Like I have a lot of nostalgia to the original team, which was like Nova, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, and White Tiger. I have a huge nostalgia towards them, but closer to the end, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, it wasn't. There's too many superheroes. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I did not like how they're now including like Cloak and Dagger, Squirrel Girl, and all these people. I did like the inclusion of like the Web Warriors, for example. That was interesting, but I wasn't liking how they're adding in so many characters and stuff, and it was just there weren't enough episodes, and it was just screwing up all of it. But at least Spider Man was in every single episode, so that was interesting. Another thing is with the Web Warriors. Now, I disliked how they handled Miles Morales. I disliked how they Venom as well. Venom was kind of stupid as well because they never showed Eddie Brock at all in this. So that's something interesting to mention because usually when you think of Venom, you're like, oh, Venom usually is controlled by Eddie Brock, but in this show it was really strange as it was being controlled by like Harry Osborn and also Flash Thompson. So that was an interesting take as well. And then yeah, the Miles Morales situation. I think Miles Morales at the time he got created in like 2011. At the time the show was running and stuff. I think the episodes he was in it was in like 2016, 2015. So he was fairly young. He was only like a couple years old in terms of comic wise. So yeah, and I disliked how they included him so much. Like I don't mind the Spider Verse stuff, but like Miles Morales should not be sticking around Peter Parker, especially in a different universe. That just was handled stupidly. I think it was kind of a cash grab to be honest with you guys because a lot of people like Miles Morales, but again, just with the whole he's not supposed to be in the same universe as Peter Parker. Other than the Spider Verse, that's the only exception I'll take. Uh, yeah. Another thing is bad writing. Some of the episodes were badly written towards the end of the series. Like for example, Otto Octavius learned the identity of Peter Parker. For example, he was still alive. He was on the run, fine, and yet he didn't want to say anything about his identity, which I thought was so stupid. I was just like, why doesn't everyone else know who it is? And then he reveals it towards the end to the Sinister Six, and they don't even care. So I thought that was really handled not good. Like, it wasn't handled very well. Just some not good at writing. And I understand that it's a kid's show, so it's not going to be like too complex, but yeah. Yeah. It wasn't, yeah, it's not going to be too complex or anything like that. Uh, yeah. In terms of villain wise, I'm pretty sure they featured every single villain, or not every single, but most of the like more known villains in Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery. I didn't feature too much of Mysterio, which I disliked kind of, but honestly, it's whatever. Uh, Same with like Eddie Brock again. They didn't feature him a lot, or they didn't even feature him at all. Yeah, I also liked how he was getting some villains like, for example, Batroc the Leaper. Uh, he wasn't. I don't even think he's really a Spider-Man villain, but the show meant him like a Spider-Man villain. And another thing would be like Mary Jane and Peter's relationship, which in all honesty I disliked. Wasn't a huge fan of that. They were more of like Mary Jane wasn't used well, to be honest with you guys. You kind of saw it towards the ending of the series, like Mary Jane was getting closer with Peter and stuff. Like, but yeah, I think if the show went on a bit more, we definitely could have seen maybe their relationship happen or whatnot. And also another thing is Mary Jane got a symbiote on her, which I didn't really like too much. Not wasn't a huge fan of that. Yeah, but they did. So yeah, the superhero times were really well, like a really cool thing. I can understand why you dislike it because technically Spider-Man doesn't team up with all these guys and stuff like that, but definitely cool. Like some of my favorites were probably like Moon Knight was tied in, Blade was tied in, Deadpool, Wolverine. There's some pretty cool ones that I really liked. Yeah, so in terms of Spider-Man shows, in terms of Spider-Man shows, and I'm talking about Spectacular Spider-Man, this Spider-Man show, and I'm gonna say the Spider-Man show that's I don't even know if it's airing now, but I would, for nostalgia purposes, I would rank it at the top. But I know a lot of people are like, oh, comic accuracy. If comic accuracy, I would go with Spectacular Spider-Man because that show was good. I really enjoyed it. I felt like it was short-lived, but I feel like these Spider-Man shows are very short-lived. Like they should be running on more. Like Spectacular Spider-Man would have been so much more better if it ran for a little bit more, like a couple more seasons. I would have been fine with it and just roll it out. But yeah, and then Ultimate Spider-Man. I kind of wish it was a little bit more because I wish they could have added some more story wise and stuff like that. Like I felt like it was unfinished, kind of. And I'm not too sure about the Spider-Man show now. I have yet to watch it. I've watched a few episodes and I've seen it, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that show, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, and then the voice work is really done well in this show as well. I think uh I don't remember what the actor's name is. The guy who plays Spider Man. He's featured in live action before. I've seen him before. He's the guy who plays Drake or Josh, one of the two. Yeah, he did a really good job in terms of playing Spider Man. I didn't know if he would be able to do it, but he did a damn good job. Really believable, really enjoyable. Made him sound like Spider Man. Didn't sound like he had a fake accent or something like that. So that's another thing. But yeah, other than that, this is pretty much it. Uh, Comment down below what you guys think of the Spider-Man, this Ultimate Spider-Man show. Like it, don't like it. Interesting to see what you guys think. But anyways, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.